You're about to see the most embarrassing dad showdown in history, and let me warn you, this fight ain't gonna be clean. At one end, we've got Homer Simpson, the beer-chugging dad who's too proud to accept defeat. On the other hand, our chicken fighter Peter Griffin is pumping more air in himself. These dads have to keep themselves alive, but by the end of the fight, the unimaginable is bound to happen. Now, let's be for real for a sec. Homer isn't exactly a genius. The guy's basically a moron, but he can hit like a champ. Remember the boxing episode? Homer straight up won those fights by just eating up all those punches from opponents until they were too tired, and then he gave them a brutal blow. The other kind of blow. So, if Peter wants to win, he's gotta bring in the big guns. Peter ain't a noob in violence. The guy's literally fought roosters across cities, so he does know a thing or two about fighting and chasing. And just know, if Homer tries to run, Peter is gonna chase his ass down. But there's a kicker. While Peter sounds like the perfect man on paper, he has the attention span of a goldfish.
Electric uranium and make the sparks go higher. I'm having so much fun.
So one random sound in the alley, and Peter would be on his feet, trying to figure out where it came from. This would be Homer's chance to fight back. And let me take you in on a secret. Homer has got a secret weapon. Yeah, you wrote off his rage because that's what's going to help him win this fight. So as Peter is too distracted by the people chattering, Homer would just sneak behind him and bam! Homer lands a nasty punch and Peter tastes dust immediately. I mean, the guy is hardly standing on his feet, but we can't write Peter off just yet. This definitely is not his first rodeo, and our homeboy sure knows how to take a punch. Remember Da Boom from season 2? Peter literally survived an apocalypse.
Family. Hey, Lois, you remember when I was the third Hardy Boy?
Peter, there was no third Hardy Boy.
Oh, really? Just like there was no apocalypse, he shoots, he scores!
And still managed to fight that jerk chicken, which was radioactive. So yeah, this guy's got stamina and he could put up a fight if only he stands after this nasty punch from Homer. Peter finally stands up and you won't believe what he does next. He charges at Homer with full speed, which is not as good as it sounds, and with his swollen belly and weak knees he jumps at Homer, throwing uncoordinated punches in all directions. For a sec there, you feel like Peter is gonna punch himself, but well, a few of those bad boys land on Homer's face and they do cause quite a lot of damage. And while Homer is sulking under those hits, he is only giving more time to Peter for doing something he didn't even imagine. Peter actually goes on to pull his chicken chase maneuver. I bet you've seen it before. Peter chasing that giant-ass bird through highways and rooftops in season 5. Now, just imagine Peter tackling Homer with the same energy. Homer is low-key signing up for a death sentence, and I feel sorry for the guy. As soon as Peter starts rushing towards Homer, he tries to outrun Peter, putting all his energy into just escaping. Homer's panting, wheezing like a silly little kid, but there's a twist. Homer is basically made of rubber. We saw it in Homer vs. Dignity when he got smacked with a panda and still walked away like nothing really happened, so I think Peter is just wasting his time by trying to wear him down. And then, Homer suddenly stops running. There's pure rage in his eyes for Peter. He starts pacing towards Peter, and that's when Peter realizes that this fight might be getting a little out of hand. And then, rings the bell, and round 2 ends for good, but Homer has already been so worked up that as soon as round 2 starts, he goes into full gorilla mode. Homer's rage is something you should definitely be afraid of. I mean, the guy is basically crack from up there. And if you've seen the Cartridge Family from season 9, you know what I'm talking about.
And this is for shooting down police helicopters.
Homer's face turns blood red and his eyes bulge out. He doesn't like the fact that Peter was chasing him down like a little girl, and this is about to turn into a beatdown because that's how Homer plays. He rushes towards Peter, who's already sweating through his undies. Homer then grabs Peter, punches him in his big fat belly, and starts kicking and slapping him. This round is completely dominated by Homer, and all the credit goes to his pure rage that literally freaked the shit out of Peter. But then, something sparks within Peter, and Homer didn't see it coming. Peter feels humiliated, getting a beating from a guy that basically looks like an ass and is an ass. While Homer throws another punch at him, Peter grabs his hand and throws him to the ground. Although Peter is not physically gifted, they both are not, adrenaline rush still gives him enough power to get away from Homer's punches and shoot him a brutal blow. Or probably this adrenaline came from all those toxic fumes he inhaled at the Pawtucket Brewery in season 2. But Homer, on the other hand, feels insulted. I mean, sure, the guy has the IQ of a potato, but he fights with his heart, without using much of his brain. Homer's only advantage in this fight is that the dude doesn't know when to quit. So while Peter's being all smug about hitting back at Homer, our dude is planning his next move and is gonna be pretty nasty. Peter is just as dumb, but at times he does use some brain, so he quickly shouts at Homer to throw him off his game. He says, "Hey Homer, I bet Mo thinks Barney is his best customer now." And, well, that's not something Homer likes to joke about, so he's instantly offended and wants to teach Peter a lesson, while Peter is playing a mind game so complex that Homer can't even imagine it. Peter's taunt has really hit Homer where it hurts. I mean, Mo is his homie, and Homer thinks it's unfair of Peter to be this personal. Homer's face immediately twists in lane. He's got the emotional depth of a voodoo doll, and when it comes to an ego, it's like an inflated balloon, so things are about to get real crazy out here. Homer has had enough of Peter's mind games, and he jumps at him, following him like a hungry hippo. Homer tries to catch up with Peter, while Peter throws another jab, saying, "At least I can drink beer without falling on my knees." Well, this beer comment really hits a nerve, and Homer totally loses it. And now, it really seems like this couldn't get any worse. Homer might be angry and losing his shit, but let's be real, Peter could really run. So while it sounds like Homer could catch Peter in it at all, Peter seems to be having the upper hand, and that's when Homer's dumb luck kicks in. Remember how he becomes a nuclear safety inspector in Homer's Odyssey in Season 1? That same dumb luck is bringing him closer to winning because suddenly, Peter slips on a banana peel. Peter's down now, although he's still not out of the game entirely, but it sounds like he's about to be written off by Homer because he stands no chance against the big guy. Peter quickly taps into his hidden resilience, trying to fight back. After all, he's the same guy who fought off a swarm of killer dolphins and a fish out of water in Season 3. He quickly grabs a trash can lid and starts using it as a shield. Now I know it's pathetic, but if the trash can save the guy's life, then let it be. Homer throws another punch at Peter, but it lands on the trash can, and Homer's fingers basically twist into all directions. He starts screaming irrationally like a little kid, while Peter smiles without making it too obvious because he's already poked the bear. Why make it worse? Homer's trying to mend his broken fingers when Peter thinks he could just run away. So he stands up, and just then Homer grabs a street light with his other hand and throws it in Peter's direction, swinging it like a baseball bat. It's chaos. Pure, ridiculous chaos. The street light doesn't hit Peter and instead falls near him. Peter grabs it, and instead of throwing it at Homer, he grabs it and starts hammering it on Homer.
Knockwood.
Well,
That's life.
What do you know?
how's the wife?
Gotta run.
Oh my.
Ta-ta.
Oliver.
At this point, I feel like the guy deserved it because let Peter breathe, dude, and go easy with the anger. But if there's one thing that actually makes Homer strong, it's his ability to actually withstand pain. Remember the Homer they fall from Season 8? This guy can literally be hit with 1,000 knives and still won't give a shit. For Peter, hitting Homer is literally like hitting a marshmallow. Homer is completely unfazed and is just standing there expressionless while Peter keeps hitting him. Wait, this could be a trap. Homer could easily grab Peter and start charging on him, but instead, he's letting Peter hit him for so long. Something's definitely wrong. Shit, Homer is tiring Peter out. The guy's literally being hit just to make sure Peter wastes all of his energy, so when he hits back, there's no room of recovery for Peter.
And a son having a catch. I'm out.
We all know Peter is not a slouch, so the guy's got strength. Remember the time he almost lifted a limo, lol? He uses that same energy and hurls Homer into a slack of crates. Homer stops moving. For a second, it feels like Peter has won this fight, but then Homer pops out of the debris like a true champ that he is. He looks pretty intact, like the donut he can't get enough of. And this is the last chance for Peter to win this, because now Homer is back in his element.
More.
I don't understand.
Peter decides to end it all and goes for his signature chicken charge, running towards Homer at full speed. If Peter hits Homer at this speed, there's no way this guy's gonna make it out. But Homer suddenly uses his non-existent brain and in a very rare moment of strategic brilliance, sidesteps at the last second. Peter crashes into the parked car, setting off an alarm. The noise pulls both of them out of their crazy trance, and they just stand there, hands on their knees, panting like two dads who've been chased down by some neighborhood chickens. That's when Homer remembers a trick that's going to land him a win. Homer steals a page out of Peter's manipulation textbook and shouts, "Look, Peter, they're offering free beer." And Peter, like a moth to a flame, turns his head, and it's more than enough for Homer to land a massive blow to his head, And what happens next is something you didn't see coming. Peter seems unfazed by Homer's blow, but I could tell the guy's in massive pain. He just can't show it. Typical dad trait. The guy's trying to power through several more punches of Homer. Our Homer guy knows that if he loses this, Marge is not going to let him forget about his defeat, and she'll turn his life into a living hell, so he has no other option than to just annihilate Peter. Peter does try to come up with a punch or two. I mean, the guy tries to fight back, let's give him credit for it, but Homer counters with a headbutt so nasty that it feels like Peter would start crying any minute now. Collapses on the ground, panting and wheezing. Apparently Homer wins the entire thing because of his rage and a little bit of manipulation, but let's be real, Peter didn't have much of a chance in this fight, considering how Homer is a beauty with some brains, lol. And as soon as Peter falls down, Marge and Lois show up. Let's just say they don't look happy as they drag their husbands back home, and what's waiting for them is a long lecture on why they can't just grow up. But at least Homer is going to get lucky after the lecture because he has won, and Marge would probably give him something more than just lunch. So, who were you rooting for this entire fight, and who do you think actually deserves to win? Drop a comment and let me know. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll keep popping up on your feed with similar videos. Take care, and thanks for sticking around.